Well, ladies and gentlemen, Six Fig Stock Trader here on YouTube. Today we're going to be talking Crypto.com CRO, but before we do, check me out on Twitter at Real6Fig. This is where I'm dropping news, charts, things I find interesting, and hit me up. So with that said, yesterday I got an opportunity to sit down with Jordan Mack at Jordan_Mack, who is a senior software engineer at Nervous Network. Folks, this was one hell of an interview. I really enjoyed talking to Jordan. We covered pretty much everything in the cryptoverse at Nervous Network. Thank you, Jordan, if you're watching this. And everyone give Jordan a follow at Jordan_Mack. He is one of the people who was around the original Bitcoin core development team back in 2011. He was right there, right around the same time Satoshi had walked out the door. So with that said, if you're interested in hearing some of that history, I highly encourage you to check out my channel in the next few weeks, maybe 1 to 2 weeks, when I dropped this interview with Jordan. It was phenomenal. So big shout out and thank you to Jordan. Back to Crypto.com, we are seeing this glorious little price spike, and people are probably wondering, wow, is it over with quite yet? And the answer is, I don't think so. And here's why. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you will see previous videos stating that we think Crypto.com is in an ascending triangle and that we are bullish. And exactly, we can see the outcome of those thoughts in previous videos. We can see huge price spike up. And now you might be asking yourself, well, is it over with? Are we coming back down to earth? Folks, when we get an ascending triangle that's 6 months long, I think that the answer is no. And I do think that we are probably, and keyword probably because this is not financial or trading advice, heading up even higher. So with that said, we can clearly see some Elliott wave theory to the upside. Let's really go down to a 15-minute chart here. And this is evident, and it's kind of hard to pick out because of this wick here. But I do think that this was an Elliott wave impulse, and you can see this wick to the upside. And now we are in some sort of sideways consolidation. But if we look at the daily chart and clear this garbage I just put on the screen, we are too far away from the cloud, folks. We cannot just have price go straight up without people selling. So this cloud is a good indicator of when we might take off again next. So I do think that given the current price spike, we are seeing a very nice bull flagpole with a pennant that could possibly be forming. But I just want to show an illustration of what happened before. We saw this glorious price spike up. Again, we're just too far away from the cloud to keep going up. So what does price have to do? It has to trade sideways. And in this case, it looks like we got some sort of ascending triangle or maybe symmetrical triangle off the bull flagpole. And again, this is on a grand scale. So I do think that now that all these lows are transferring into highs, if that makes any sense. So I do think that on a grander scale, we might be seeing Elliott wave theory moving to the upside. And what I mean by that, bear with me 1 second. I am fighting with TradingView right now. It's all slow and glitchy. So we can see that this might be a greater move. If we see Elliott wave theory to the upside, we might be seeing something like this occur. And we might be seeing Crypto.com head up into the 70-80 cent levels. Now, there's a rule of thumb for Elliott wave theory. For those that don't know, bear with me 1 second. 0.021 cannot be longer than 0.2 to 3. And same with 0.4 to 5 cannot be longer than 0.2 to 3. So with that said, here we have by default a guideline in the form of a post. So we can use this post to try and guess where 0.3 might end up. And I'm just going to stick this right over here. And so we could say, okay, at the minimum, we need 0.3 to hit 60 cents. Maybe 0.4 would come down like this, and then 5 could technically be into price discovery mode. But rule of thumb is wave 2 to 3 can never be the shortest wave. Now this looks like it is the shortest wave because we are in logarithmic mode, but technically from this point to this point is the same distance from this point to this point. And so we could even just run this up a little bit more to deviate that difference. But we're not going to do that right now because we need to look at, bear with me one second here, we need to look at Fibonacci extensions. Try to figure out where some of these points are and what do they mean. So we'll draw up our extension with our glitchy software, also known as TradingView. And I am using a supercomputer with very high-speed internet, so I can assure you this is a problem on their end for sure. So right now we can see that, bear with me one second here, that right now price action would put us around this 200% level and on this wick here. And it's interesting that we came and rested on this 127. Now this 127% level is a notorious level for reversals and hangups. So with that said, it's not really a surprise to me that we are hanging out at this 127% level. So we could just argue that maybe 5 is up here, 0.5, and that maybe 0.3 might be up here. And we might be seeing some sort of climb from this 127 possibly up to this 241% level, maybe even the 300% level, and we might see Crypto.com really kind of run the tables like this. It's just, we won't know until we know, but I can assure you one thing is that on the daily chart, we are just trading too far away from the cloud to move up at the time of this video. And so, within the last 2 days, we were still too far away from the cloud. Price action wanted to move up, too far away from the cloud. So with that said, let's go ahead and see if we can uncover any Fibonacci time sequence. And I'm looking for something to appear right in here. So with that said, let's see if we can predict when this might happen. And this is totally a guessing game right now. So let's just move the goalposts and we'll measure some of these. Swing high to swing lows. And you can kind of see the power of Fibonacci time sequence because when we look back in hindsight, it was warning us that this little price spike was about to happen, and it was warning us that something was about to happen here. So had we known that there was a November 1st time sequence here, we would have known to look for some sort of volatility. So with that said, I'm going to just kind of look at maybe 2 more time sequence point of interest. One being from here down to here. And again, folks, you can see how accurate this stuff is. This time sequence predicted volatility here, predicted volatility or a reversal point here. Same with right here, nailed this reversal point. So we can use this type of stuff to our advantage. One more time sequence I just want to check out here. Bear with me one second, folks. Bingo. So look at this. I just want to make sure that I nail this, and this may or may not be a good point of interest. So bear with me one second here, folks. When I start switching different time frames, it greatly impacts time sequence that I have previously laid down. So we're just going to delete this, throw up a new one from this little wick here down to this little wick here, because these are 2 extreme price point swings. And again, folks, I can't elaborate how important it is for you guys to learn about this stuff, whether it's through this channel or basic research. Reversal point here coming up, warning us of this drop off, warning us of this price spike that was impending. And okay, so For some reason, I thought I had something in this area. But it doesn't look like we can really predict any time sequence from happening at this moment in time. We just have to look at the candles to see what those are telling us. So we can definitely see that right now price action might be forming some sort of cup and handle. And if you can kind of see, these lows are still getting higher. So this might by default create some sort of ascending triangle. So I think it would be fair to say that this could be the pattern that might be forming. Keyword might be, again, not financial or trading advice, but it would not surprise me to see price action start moving sometime tonight or early tomorrow morning. And I do think there might be a chance for CRO to really start taking off again. So with that said, folks, I do think Crypto.com is looking good pending the rest of the market cooperates. And I do think that we might see a return of this 50-cent level. Again, not financial or trading advice, just based off what I'm seeing is kind of how I predict how these things might work out. You can kind of see that there is possibly a little symmetrical triangle that is forming here. And yeah, this definitely supports the fact that maybe later on tonight and into tomorrow might be go time to advance to the next level. So I hope you guys found this video interesting on Crypto.com, and I do think that this thing is gearing up for a retest of this 50-cent level. So hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys on the next one.